All right, let me get these scores pulled up really quick. Thank God for women's basketball, by the way. That Super Bowl game was atrocious. It was over with by halftime. I mean, if you're a Philly Eagles fan, then cool. You love the game. You love the result. Or if you're a Kansas City Chiefs hater, you love the result. But for somebody that just wanted to see a good game from two of the best teams in the league, it was not that. We didn't get that. There we go. But these games were really good. Really good. Now, I'm going to break some rules here. I'm going to start with the headliner. You're never supposed to do that, right? I don't follow many rules. You guys know that. We got to start with the good stuff. South Carolina versus Texas. This this game was great. Texas led from tip to buzzer. That much you don't expect. I did expect to see a good game. When I first saw the season schedule, I did expect these two teams to split these two games. And so that much was expected, but the way it played out, unexpected. I'll be honest with you guys. I'll be honest. Now, Madison Booker, she didn't shoot very good at first in her first meeting. Kyla Oteker, she was dominant on the boards. Didn't put a lot of those rebounds back into the bucket though. So you expected that it would be a lot closer this game because it's pretty hard to be as bad as they were in that first meeting. I'm gonna just skip right to it, you guys, because we all saw the. Well, if you haven't saw the game, you're gonna have to check out the recap or the replay somewhere else. I can't give you all the highlights, but let's skip to the end of the game. It was 64 to 62. One thing I try to avoid is Monday morning quarterbacking. I hate when I see people do that. They come out here on YouTube and try to sound like experts after the fact. I try to make a lot of predictions. I try to give a lot of previews. That way, my opinion is already out there before the game starts, and I can't walk it back afterwards, right? But this, what I'm about to say, I said in real time as I was watching it. 64 to 62. They had the defensive squad out there. We know Raven Johnson, she's great on defense. Fagan, Hall, the whole nine, right? They stopped Kyla Odeker on the score attempt. It was 64 to 62 going into the timeout. Joyce Edwards, their leading scorer for the last 5 games, 4 for 6 in this game, their most efficient scorer. We didn't see her out there. Mileja Fulwally, their leading scorer in this game, the one player who you would name if you say, hey, we need a bucket, who can get it? Mileja Fulwally, right? She was 4 for 9 in this game. We didn't see her out there. Bree Hall was 0 for 5 in this game, which isn't atypical for her. I mean, this is something that she does. She's not much of a scorer. She's a defensive presence. Bree Hall was 2 for 6. Now, Tahina Papa was 2 for 9, but she's your biggest 3-point threat. You're not taking her off the floor. Fagan, she's your best post threat. Kits, she's actually the better scorer, in my opinion, from the post. I just can't fathom not having Joyce Edwards or Mileja Fulwally. Never mind neither one. I would have both, honestly, but neither one. On the court, when you only need 2 points, I couldn't fathom going with that decision, me personally. And I know you're not supposed to question Dawn. South Carolina fans, don't get at me. Don't get at me, right? I'm just a neutral observer here. But in my opinion, that was a mistake. If I need a bucket, Tessa Johnson will be on the court for sure, but the ball would not be in her hands over somebody like Mileja Fulwally. And there's no way I wouldn't have Joyce Edwards sitting right at the rim in case they over rotate it because I know she's the most sure scorer on that quick stick, putting it up right there underneath the basket. So we didn't see that. We saw airball, airball layup attempt, and that was game. That decided it. Now, that's just one play. The game never really comes down to one play, but when it's a 2-point game, I gotta have my best scorer in the game. Mileja Fulwally played 21 minutes. I don't care if they were cold or not. I know they didn't play a lot towards the end of the game. I still would have had him in there. For sure, Mileja Fulwally, if not her and Joyce. That's just me. But either way, it was a good game. Like I said, I expected this to be a split anyway when I saw the season schedule. So it's cool. Not a big deal. The first loss today taken in the SEC in quite a while, some years. 3 years to be exact, I believe, or at least a good 2.5. But yeah, that was shocking to me, that decision. But it was a great game. Can't wait to see what goes on when LSU and Texas meets. That's gonna be a good game. I still think Kentucky is being slept on in the SEC, but you guys can continue sleeping. They're gonna catch somebody snoozing, trust me. But this game, I appreciate you guys. It was a great precursor to what was a horrible Super Bowl. Now, UCLA versus Oregon. I'm not going to get into this game too tight because I will be previewing USC versus UCLA, and this is a part of it. Not a very impressive win by UCLA. I just go ahead and say it. Not that impressive at all. They only won by 10. Bets. Another low scoring output, 9 points. They're sending a lot of extra defensive attention to her, rightfully so, but at 6'7", you give me all the attention in the real. You can't stop it, right? London Jones, 6 for 10 in this one. She's the same player who gave South Carolina some problems. You know, a lot of people focus on Betts and what she brings. Of course, Kiki Rice gets a lot of attention as well. But London Jones, I believe she was 4 for 5 in that game or something like that from the three-point line. 5 for 7 in this game from the three-point line. And so, huge X factor there. That's the player who, if you're trying to beat UCLA, she can't go off. You can't let her go off. Janiah Barker was 0 for 5 in this game. And then I wake up in the morning and I see her still still ranked like 7th on mock boards. On the newly released WNBA mock draft, they had Janiah Barker at 7. Nobody's picking her 7th. Y'all can stop with that. If I was her, I would return. I'm not sure though, because we all know that Lauren Bett's sister is coming in there next year, and she's probably going to take a lot of minutes in that front court. Yeah, I don't know. It's a crazy situation, but you guys kill me with the Janiah Barker thing. I don't know why everybody wants to put her as a lottery pick or as a top 8 pick. I'm not seeing it. She's not showing it. Notre Dame in California, 21 ranked California. Blowout. I checked in on this game in the second quarter. It wasn't worth watching, you guys. They're doing to the ACC the exact same thing that UConn is doing in the Big East. And the ACC is a lot tougher than the Big East, obviously. But I don't see much competition there for Notre Dame. It's really the out-of-conference games that have given them the most challenge so far. Not a lot to see there. I don't expect North Carolina or Duke. I don't expect any of those teams to really give Notre Dame much of a push. So, you know, maybe that's just me overestimating how good Notre Dame is. But listen, 1 through 5. Let's just take a look at this lineup that they wrote out. 1 through 5, in my opinion, they have the best starting 5 in the country, hands down. There's nowhere that you can help from. Look at this. You have Liatu King, 8 points, 13 rebounds. We know what she does. She can do this every single game with her eyes closed. 3 for 6 in this game. Maddie Westbeld, 9 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Hannah Hidalgo, 24 points, 4 for 5 from the three-point line, 10 for 20 from the field. Olivia Miles had her 16, 7, and 6. Sonia Citron, 16, 4, 5, 7 for 9 from the damn field. This team is too good, man. 1 through 5. And then now you have Koval on the bench. You have Carlin on the bench. Kassan Prosper has really come along as a huge asset for them. That team's scary. That team's scary. Now, I ain't scared of them as a USC fan, but that team's scary. Now, a couple other games that I wanted to highlight really quick. I'm not going to go through all of them. Duke, Miami. Duke, you're not fooling me. I told you guys earlier I'm sleep on Duke. The ACC as a whole, besides Notre Dame. Georgia Tech, they made a little bit of noise. They fallen off a bit though since then. You know, Danny Carnegie, she's kind of come back down to earth a little bit. Would love to see her get going again. That's what really makes them a dangerous team. Her coming off the bench, and she was consistently giving you 20 at one point. Right now, that's kind of falling back a little bit. North Carolina State though, they're the team that just beat Duke recently. They started the week off with the win versus Duke. Ended the week off with the win versus Florida State. Taniyah Latson, Michaela Timpson, not enough. Not enough. A big thing that I've been talking about and that I followed a lot through this season when it comes to North Carolina State, we know that they lost their big transfer, Caitlin Waymar, Patriot League Defensive Player of the Year, 18 and 10, big presence inside. They had Tilda Trigger, nice freshman here. They've been bringing along slowly, 6'6". Had her biggest game of the season, in my opinion. I haven't checked her entire game log, but I've been paying close attention. And from what I can recall, this is her biggest game of the year. 16 points, 14 rebounds. If she can continue, not even 16 and 14, that's crazy. But if she can even give you 10 and 8 consistently, that makes North Carolina State the team that we all thought they would be coming into the season. They're already up to the 14th ranked team after dropping out of the rankings a couple of times earlier this season. But when you have that much guard depth that they have with Brooks, James, Rivers, Hayes, and my girl Zam Jones coming off the bench, now you have a 6'6" presence inside that you can rely on. North Carolina State, they're running into shape right at the right time. This is the time of the year that you want to look good. In my opinion, UCLA kind of peaked early. Lately, they've been looking a little bit mid. I think they can be got. I think they will get got in this upcoming Battle of LA versus USC, but Right now, North Carolina State, they're going the other way. They look to be peaking. All right. Last one, well, two more that I really wanted to highlight. This Battle of Michigan, always a good game when two interstate teams like this face each other. Michigan versus Michigan State. Michigan has been in and out of the top 25 this season. I believe this game shall put them back. I'm waiting for the AP top 25 to release now. That's why I'm sitting here reviewing some of these games with you guys. Silas Swords and Olivia Olson come up big. Swords with 19, Olivia Olson with 14. I believe they just have more in the tank than Michigan State. I honestly have my money on them in this game. Mila Holloway, that's the third player in that top freshman trio that they have. She had 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. Like I said, Swords, she went off 19, 5, and 6. Olsen, very dependable. To me, the best defender of those three freshmen. 14, 7, and 2 for her. They got it done. Now, we saw how they started the season versus South Carolina. They put a really good game up against them. Came up short, but still. Put a really good game up against South Carolina. So that right there told us everything we needed to know about this team and how they would be this season. All right. Not a dominant team, but they can beat anybody on any given night. That's a team to keep an eye on going into the tournament, Big Ten tournament and the big tournament, right? I believe they'll get back in the top 25 ranking, and they should stay there for the rest of the season because they are legitimately a top 25 team for sure. They're a team that can sneak its way into the Sweet 16, in my opinion, easily. Last game I really wanted to highlight from yesterday, Maryland versus Washington, 81-73. The game itself, I was expecting to see a really good game. Sellers, not the one we all think about when we talk about Maryland versus Washington, but the one for Washington. Savia Sellers. There we go. Savia Sellers. She had 19 points, 5 assists, 5 steals in this game. She's a really good player. Really good sophomore. Only 5'7". And you guys know how I feel about some of the shorter players. She's only 1 for 9 from the three-point line in this game. But Savia Sellers is a baller. Not only in my opinion, just in fact. She's a baller. But the one everybody talks about, one everybody knows about, Cheyenne Sellers. Good to see her back healthy. I mean, she's been back for a few games now, but she's really looking like she's up to speed now for the last couple of games. 15 points in this one, 4 rebounds and 5 assists. She looked good. Only attempted 1 3, but her defensive presence was out there. This game for me was all about Kayleen SMIKLE. SMIKLE Jordan. 36 points, 8 rebounds in this game, 3 blocks and 2 steals. You never really see that much defensive output from her. 3 for 4 from the three-point line, that you expect. 13 for 18 from the field. Like I said, she's a very efficient scorer. She gets those buckets. Just a junior. Can't wait to see how good she looks next season. Now that she'll be settled into the Maryland system. This is our first year there after transferring from Rutgers. I really like Kayleen SMIKLE. SMIKLE Jordan, you guys. 36 points. That's her career high. You know, they've dropped down in the rankings ever since they took that loss to USC, and then they lost Cheyenne Sellers shortly after that, lost a few games, but they're a really good team. They're a really good team, a really dangerous team as well. It was cool to see Kayleen SMIKLE get off like that. I mean, she already had, I think, 17 at half, came out and scored maybe their first 8 or 9 points, or very early 8 or 9 points in that second half. I had to turn away and get back to the South Carolina and Texas game, but that was a good one. That was a good one. She was balling out. Oh, how dare I? How dare I not mention LSU? I said that was the last one I wanted to mention. No. LSU versus Tennessee. This was a great game as well, too. LSU versus Tennessee. This is another one that was entertaining from start to finish. Tennessee was looking like a team that was going to get the win. They're coming off a big win versus UConn. They had it close. Right up until well, the entire game was close. It never really did get too out of whack for either team as far as a deficit goes. But Kaylin Gilbert just changed the entire tone of the game in that second half when she got going. I mean, just started lighting it up. Once I saw that she was in her bag, no matter how close Tennessee was, I knew it was over with. I knew it was over with because, I mean, she was a killer in that first game against them. And just having her as a fourth, when you already have Morrow, you already have Michaela Williams, you already have Floje out there balling, to have a fourth player come in and add that extra dimension for them, it's not always there. It's not always there. Seems to always be there against Tennessee. But Gilbert, she really stepped up and really caused some problems for them. And to me, she was she was obviously the X factor. Not to me. Anybody who watched the game could tell you that. She was the X factor in this game. So, very entertaining. Like I said, I'm just sitting here waiting for the top 25 to release, you guys, so I can see what the implications of some of these games were. See if Michigan gets back into the ranked column, or into the top 25, I should say. Let's see what they do with Tennessee following a win versus UConn, number 5, then a loss to number 6 LSU, a very tight loss. See if that pulls them closer to the top 10. And yeah, I don't expect South Carolina to drop much. You lose to the number 4 team if you're number 2. They're not going to fall much at all. So let's see if Notre Dame rises up to that number 2 spot. Maybe South Carolina goes 3. Maybe Texas goes number 2. They love Texas. They've loved them in the net rankings all season long. So more than likely, we'll just see South Carolina and Texas flip-flop. Or maybe Texas goes 2, South Carolina goes 3, and poor Notre Dame, after a dominating win, falls to 4. That would be awful for them. None of this really matters, obviously. They're all going to be number 1 seeded in their regions, more than likely. But we'll see what goes on. That's really what I'm waiting for. Once that AP Top 25 comes out, I'll drop another video, just a casual conversational video like this one, not too heavy with the replays or the clips and stuff like that. Every time I add 2 highlights, they just take the rights for the video, so I'll try to stay away from that, you guys. But I will catch you on that next video. If you guys want to talk about the Top 25, make sure you get subscribed, make sure you tap in, talk to me in the comments. I can only talk to myself for so long. Catch you guys on the next one. Wait, one last thing. In a recent video, I talked about Gino Auriemma and some of his comments after that UConn versus Tennessee game. And I also talked about Kim Mulkey and some of her very salty comments and that post-game presser that she did after taking the loss to South Carolina. And how some of the other coaches, Kim Caldwell as an example, Lindsey Gottlieb as an example, are setting a very good example for how you should lose with grace, right? Not throw your teammates under the bus, not throw backhanded compliments to the other team. Dawn Staley gives a masterclass in this one. And so I just wanted to highlight, because if I'm going to show you the bad, I have to show you the good. Let's look at this class act that Dawn Staley is. And I can understand why everybody appreciates her, loves her, why she's respected the way she is. Because this is how you handle a loss. This is how you talk about your teammates. She didn't sugarcoat anything when asked why her players weren't in at certain times, because they can't defend. Like, she didn't, sugarcoat that at all. But it's still the way that she delivered it with love. This is why Dawn Staley is who she is and why she deserved the biggest bag in all of college sports right now. Well, in women's basketball right now.
Dawn, you've been a ton of incredible basketball venues. Just wanted to ask you your thoughts on Moody Center as a venue and your thought on the atmosphere today.
It's great. Great atmosphere. Great music. Loud cheers. It's great. It's great. It's great for women's basketball. Probably great for TV. Close game. Great for our game. It's just unfortunate somebody had to lose, and it's fortunate that they won.
David, and then Alan.
Dawn, the 4-guard lineup in the fourth, what was the decision-making going into that and kind of letting Texas's height, go kind of unchallenged?
Yeah, we went. We needed Breezy on Booker for as much as we could stay matched up on her. So we thought we needed to go to a small lineup. They were pretty small as well, and just weren't getting anything from our bigs. We're not getting a whole lot of rebounding, not really a whole lot of scoring, where we felt like we can get the advantage. So they did a really good job at covering up and being disruptive and forcing us out of our spots. So it was a really good defensive game.
Alan, and then we'll come here in the front.
Kind of going off the bigs, Chloe and Joyce didn't play a second in the fourth quarter. Was there ever a thought to put in the back end, or was that Sanaya's quarter the whole way in that 4-guard lineup?
Sanaya's the only one that can guard her, like halfway guard her. Like, we give up too much when Chloe or Joyce are on her. Could have tried Adele, could have tried. They're just not experienced enough. She's a very experienced post player that I thought she brought it on home for them.
Dawn, here in the rematch, did you come in expecting, you can't expect Madison Booker to have another tough day shooting like she did at your place? Did you tell them that? Or
yeah,
that?
all of them had a bad shooting night. We weren't anticipating any of them having a bad shooting night. Booker's a great player. She gets to her spots. I thought she did a great job rebounding. Like, she was a beast on the board. She got a really crucial rebound in the fourth quarter where we got the stop. It's just we had the switch. Breezy wasn't on her, smaller guard on her. She took advantage of it, gave them another possession, and they scored. So I thought it was a well-coached game on both sides of the ball, and I thought they out-toughed us for 3 out of the 4 quarters.
And real quick, what did you think of Oldeker's performance for them?
I mean, we had nobody to stop her, unstoppable.
In the front, on the left.
Both sides of the ball. She was very active defensively, and there's not much we can do with that when she's got 2 feet in the paint. She's that deep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask about Otehr. I know she's inexperienced, but you went with her the whole fourth quarter, something he hasn't done.
He did.
Yeah.
I would too. I would have too. I mean, I thought their other bigs got them to a great place in the game, and then they used Otehr to finish us, and she did a great job. She came through for them time and time again, like crucial baskets.
Right here in the front, and then the left corner.
Yeah, Coach, I know Rory Harmon was sure on the scouting report, but towards the second half, it was a lot of Breonna Preston on the court. What did you see out of the true freshman from Texas?
Who you say?
Preston.
Preston, Breonna Preston. Did a great job. I mean, I thought we would see her a little bit more because she came in and gave them a big boost, and a little bit more earlier. She was in late in the basketball game and did enough to tire us out and disrupt the flow of our offense by not allowing our point guards to just initiate our offense. So, really great job.
Coach, today is the absolute biggest day in sports, and South Carolina and Texas were chosen to be a lead into the Super Bowl. I know winning is always most important, but can you talk about the impact that your team in Texas has had on women's college basketball and sports? A lot of fans in the stands, and there's probably millions around the world that see all this game.
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, we're it right now. Like, women's basketball is it right now. Like, you just said it. They're not going to put any women's game on to, be the prelude to the Super Bowl. They put it on because they knew the ratings would be there. They knew it was going to be a tightly matched basketball game. I just hope now that people are seeing our game being showcased, that we'll get the respect in all areas. Revenue sharing, we get the respect in all areas that our game deserves.
After the UCLA loss, Powell kind of described it as a bit of a wake-up call, just a way to reset. I guess, do you see this loss in a similar way, or do you kind of treat each loss individually in terms of its impact?
Well, we fought. We fought in this particular game. I mean, there's some things that we definitely can get better at. This type of game is you're just trying to survive. You can't really run your offenses, and, players have to make plays at that point because you can design a play up, but they can blow it up with their defense, and they did that a lot tonight. I mean, it's unfamiliar territory for us. I mean, this is the first game that we lost in 2 years, I think. So, the law of averages say at some point somebody's going to get you. I'm just glad they didn't get us where we can't survive. Like, we still control our own destiny. We do have to look around a little bit and hope somebody knocks Texas off or LSU off so we can control it for the rest of the way. I'm sure they're going to think the same thing with us as well.
Coach, you've talked about Otehr a lot, but Taylor Jones had a big day too. The two of them combined for 24 points. What did both of them do differently today, and what kind of impact did they make?
Well, they made baskets. That's one. I mean, two, they utilized their height. I thought they played with a lot of aggression on both sides of the ball. I thought they were really active rebounding the basketball, and they played like they wanted to play different than they played the time before, and they wanted to win, and you could see it.
Here on the right.
Coach, having your first conference loss in 2 years to the conference newcomers, what does Texas bring to the SEC?
I mean, I think them and Oklahoma just make us not arguably the best conference in the country. We are. It's solidified with bringing them in. It's just, you got a top 5 program, you got a top 25 program come into a league that's already was just unforgiving. And now it's just it's survival at this point. Like anybody can beat anybody, and it's tough down the stretch. I'm looking forward to the end of the season and the SEC tournament.
Here in the front.
Yeah, Dawn, how much difference do you see between your team and Texas?
I think we're pretty balanced. You know, we got what most people don't have, which is post step. We have the ability to be versatile. We defend pretty good. They probably got the advantage on the rebounding. So we got to get better in that area. Great coaching and disciplined basketball team.
Dawn, you described this game as one where you just got to survive and maybe not run as many offensive sets. Why? What's your thinking in approaching it that way?
They disrupted us. I mean, we worked on some things that we could do, to relieve the pressure, but didn't work. I think it's a lot easier when you're practicing and you're not in this environment and it's loud and you can't hear what the play call is. Then you got to improvise a little bit. I thought they did a better job improvising and running their sets. We couldn't disrupt them as much as we disrupted them at our place. So, they returned the favor.
Michael finishes out.
Dawn, you guys outscored Texas, I think it was 22-13 in the third quarter. Do you kind of chalk that up to halftime adjustments or just better execution?
I think we came out. I mean, I think we came out and we did some things that we wanted to do, and in the fourth quarter we did it. I mean, they had a lot to do with it. They disrupted us, and I think we had a smaller lineup in that we probably don't practice as much as we need to practice in these type of situations. When you go with a smaller lineup, you're susceptible to rebounding. You're susceptible to having a smaller guard on a big presence like Booker. So you put yourself in that situation, and we got burned a few times with it, and we'll have to eat that. But that was part of the adjustment.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming.